Welcome to Everything on Everything. On today's video, things are going to be a little bit different. This video is a special video that opens up the first episode of our open discussion segment called Let's Discuss, in which you, the viewers, get to openly discuss the topic in the comment section. However, the Everything on Everything team would like to openly point out that it will not and does not support any hate speech or unacceptable comments directed to or from anyone regarding the comments in the discussion. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and switch on the notification bell to support and get more of our videos. And please do check out the Express and Encompass podcast that is available on Spotify and Anchor. All right, now, let us get back to the topic at hand. So, let's discuss an open letter written to Mandela named How Mandela Sold Out Black. This letter was taken out from an article on News 24, and the link will be provided in the description below. Dear former President Nelson Mandela, I was only about 5 years old when you were released from prison. I come from a poor background as a black child, and I was raised by my grandmother. In 1994, South Africa had its first democratic elections. I remember people around me, including my grandmother, were excited to vote for you and the ANC government. Sadly though, my grandmother passed away before she could even vote in the beginning of April in 1994. I understand that she had meetings between 1985 and 1990 with P.W. Botha to have and betrayal to black people. The transfer of ownership of wealth and land is at the heart of transfer of power. Hence, it was clearly stipulated in the Freedom Charter, but you chose to ignore that. During the negotiations, everyone was watching the political negotiations. You were too concerned that if the political negotiations didn't go well, there would be a mass project. People were not interested in the economic negotiations, and when the economic negotiations would report back, people thought it was technical. No one was interested. And this is because of lack of education. You should have known better. This is where we missed our freedom completely. And you sold it to the nationalists. Failed economic negotiations, state ownership of the Reserve Bank. Mr. Former President, your mandate was to ensure that the values of the Freedom Charter were implemented, including nationalization of the country's assets. Instead of nationalizing the mines, you were meeting up regularly with Harry Oppenheimer, former chairman of the mining giants Anglo American and De Beers, which were the economic symbols of apartheid rule. Shortly after the 1994 election, you even submitted the ANC's economic program to Oppenheimer for approval and made several key revisions to address his concerns, as well as those of other top industrialists. Shame on you for selling out the minerals and land to the imperialists. The outcomes of those meetings were that you could have the political power, but the gold and diamonds would remain in the hands of the individuals that controlled it before. Have you forgotten what the Freedom Charter had said? One of the most revealing aspects of the economic transition was the ownership of the Reserve Bank of South Africa, arguably the most powerful institution in the country. Its fate was explained by Durban businessman Vishnu Padayachi, who was asked to draft a document for the negotiating team on the pros and cons of having an autonomous central bank run with total autonomy from the elected government. Padayachi could not believe what he was hearing. He and his team drafted and submitted the document with a clear policy of not allowing the Reserve Bank to be autonomous. He was later told by the negotiation team that we had to give that one up. The bank is privately owned and today has some 650 shareholders. Why did you let go of the Reserve Bank and let the imperialist whites take control of it, Mandela? Why? During the negotiations, you agreed that not only would the Reserve Bank be run as an autonomous entity within the South African state, with its independence enshrined in the South African Constitution, but it would be headed by the same man who ran it under apartheid, Chris Stals. Another apartheid-era figure, Finance Minister Derek Keyes, also retained his position in the new administration. Mandela, how could you allow the people who oppressed us to be in charge of the Reserve Bank? Padayachi lamented with the loss of the Reserve Bank. Everything would be lost in terms of economic transformation. This is indeed true. Everything was lost when you handed over the Reserve Bank. One of the Freedom Charter pledges is the redistribution of land. This became highly constrained with a new clause in the Constitution which protected all private property. Failed Rainbow Nation coated myth. You have been preaching this Rainbow Nation myth to the world that does not exist, but only exists in your head. Reconciliation has meant nothing but black people forgiving whites for 300 plus years of dispossession, humiliation, and suffering. I experience pain every single time a white South African at the shop, in a bar, on Talk Radio 702, or online forum says that we need to forget the past and get over it. It is like they're saying to us, forget your pain. Some who benefited at your expense. We have suffered racial abuse, and our abusers are among us. You and Desmond Tutu's rainbow myth glossed over this pain, much to the relief of whites. Whites fail to acknowledge our pain and suffering, and their position as beneficiaries of our pain. But you are overly concerned with not rocking the boat as far as whites were concerned. This is why you are the subject of a personality cult in the white community rather than the black community. Whites in this country believe that you are the only honorable black person, while the rest of us are just corrupt, criminals, rapists, drunkards, and uneducated buffoons. The free and fair environment post 1994 is another rainbow coated myth. Black people are not free. Unless you describe freedom as being able to vote and not having to carry IDs 24/7. We are not free, and very little is fair. All thanks to you, Mandela. The current state. Are you aware that blacks remain landless, underfed, houseless, underemployed, poorly represented in senior managerial positions, the state of healthcare and education for Black people remains as it was, if not worse, than under apartheid. Remnants of apartheid and colonial economic patterns, ownership and control remains intact, despite the attainment of political freedom by youth. She could vote for you. Well, I am glad that she never voted for you, as she would have voted for a traitor. What you have done is simply continued where the apartheid government left us off and dug the holes of poverty and oppression deeper. If you fail to apologize before you die, it simply means that you are an accomplice to them. When you eventually die and meet the likes of Dr. Henrik Verwoerd and P.W. Botha, may you have a good time with them and laugh at how blacks continue to suffer. I have nothing but hatred for what you have done to us. Signing out from the deep, dark hellhole of continued oppression that you have put us in. Yours sincerely, youngster. A deep and passionate letter to the unfortunate late former President Nelson Mandela. And we are all here to listen to your opinions and views and discussions on this. So join the discussion down below and open your mind to new understandings and opinions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and switch on the notification bar for more of our videos.